Hello again. I'm going to do another part on blacksmithing tools. I can't believe I forgot one very important thing with my previous video when I was overviewing general blacksmithing tools. And what I forgot was the vise. And what we have in front of us are two different vices. There's a bench vise on the left and a blacksmith's vise right here in the middle. It's also called a leg vise, as you can see, because it's got a leg on it. Now, when you're beginning blacksmithing, if you're just getting into it, if you're just messing around, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a bench vise. However, a leg vise is very important if you're going to do a lot of blacksmithing, because chances are you're going to break one of those bench vices. Because when you're using a vise, when you're blacksmithing, of course you're going to be using the vise to hold something while you're hammering on it. And when you hammer on this sort of vise, if you envision a force being placed there, the force doesn't have a nice straight path down to its base. The force gets transmitted through that jaw and that jaw, through this sliding cross piece, and then through the base and then onto your table. And I'm sure all you guys know we've been banging on something in this vise, and our whole workbench is bouncing around. And with repeated beating and banging, you're eventually going to break something, break a jaw or break that slide. But this sort of vise, when you put a load there, it transfers directly down that leg harmlessly to the ground. And when this vise is installed, there, I would imagine, normally be some sort of a plate you would want to put under that so it doesn't just drive itself into the ground or transmit too much load onto the mounting plate there. Or, if there's force on the outer jaw, it's still going to go straight down through that heavy-duty pivot and then down the leg to the base. They also tend to have pretty deep throat. Some might be more or less than others. This is the first one that I just pulled out of my pile. I've got two others. You can still find these around. They're relatively common as far as blacksmithing tools go. I don't think we paid more than $100 for one, but I have no idea how much they go for now. As you see, there's a spring, big leaf spring there, that helps keep the jaw open as you're opening and closing the jaws with the handle. And there's a basic mounting plate so you can mount it onto your bench. And again, that mounting plate is just to keep the vise upright. No real force is going through this mounting plate to your workbench. Your workbench just holds the vise vertical, and when you're beating on the vise, the load goes straight down through that leg. This is an interesting design. I don't remember if my other vices are like this, but this spring and strap and mount is all connected with these wedges. There's a slot that goes through here, through this and this. And there are two wedges that are driven in there that hold everything together, and I just found that interesting. So that's it. Short video. I just wanted to touch on this and talk about the differences between these two types of vices. Oh, and one other thing. A lot of these bench vices, they have a little anvil surface here. This one doesn't really have that, but some of them they'll have a little anvil. Sometimes the anvil will have a little miniature horn, just like a real anvil. But don't be fooled. That is absolutely nothing like an anvil. It's not to be used as an anvil at all. And it's really a joke they put those little horns on those vise anvils, because they're really quite useless. I don't know what you'd really use it for. The flat surface of the anvil on a vise is kind of helpful if you're just flattening a little piece of sheet metal or something, but don't buy one of those thinking that you're buying a vise anvil combination and you don't have to go out and find a real anvil, because you'll break it. These vices are cast iron. Most of them are anyway, and cast iron is very strong, but it's also very brittle. These vices, however, are forged, and they will bend and deform before they shatter. But they won't shatter at all. They'll absorb the shock. So that's it. And maybe in my next video I will pound some iron. Show you guys some basic skills of blacksmithing. Stay tuned. Leave a comment, a suggestion, any thoughts. Please let me know. And stay tuned for more.